I tell the families, and I've dealt with a lot of uh, hostage families, they suffer far worse than hostages because the suffering of not knowing is far worse than actually when you're in an experience because you're always imagining the worst. So for a mother, the kidnap is worse for the mother than the hostage. And what I had a strange experience actually on that question you asked about Jim. I'd never met Jim's mother, Diane Foley, who's an amazing woman who runs the James Foley Foundation, campaigning for hostages today. You know, I'd never met her, but I was aware from my own mother the suffering I was putting my loved ones through. And I remember when I was kidnapped, having this renewed appreciation for life because mine I thought was about to end. I was actually overwhelmed by love. It was so powerful because I had memories of my childhood holidays, my brothers and sisters playing as kids. I could see my whole life. So in fact, my experience as a hostage was one of overwhelming love. So when I get out, I'm aware when I'm doing these other stories than my friend Jim. I was making a documentary. There's 23 hostages, a lot of families, and I talked to a lot of them. I knew that my experience was overwhelming love. And I remember at the time, I wrote in my diary during my captivity, if by some chance my family find this diary, I want them to know I don't want my family and loved ones to spend the life. I don't want my death to cast a shadow over the rest of their lives. And the irony is what they don't know is I'm so happy because I've lived a blessed life and I'm aware how beautiful the world is. I would like them. I never needed to tell my family that because I was able to meet my children. So I write a letter to Diane Foley. And I said to her, now, it's very dangerous when you're playing with other people's lives and loss. You don't want to give them false hope or say something cheap and glib. But I kind of thought, hey, Jim's my buddy. He's going to let me try and make the mother feel better, even if I might not be 100% correct. But I wrote this letter to Diane saying, look, I know Jim would want me to tell you this, but he was happy and filled with love. And because I knew I was, and I was talking to my friend, and even if I was wrong, he wouldn't mind me saying it to make his family feel good. Well, Diane emailed me back and said, wow. And she was really moved by this letter. And she goes, but more than moved, Jim had written a letter that another hostage had taken out because he was beheaded. But this other European hostage, now the letter was verbatim, very similar to what I wrote. And Jim had written this last letter to his family saying, I am full of love, overwhelmed by love. I remember childhood hanging out with my brother and those memories are so wonderful. And he had this light love. So, okay, so then she was crying and it's like, wow. And I was like, fuck, it's like, I'd got it right. Jim did want me to say that. And then she said, look, do you mind if I share your letter with this other mother who of a hostage of Kayla Muller, a young girl? And I said, oh God, because my letter was saying, look, don't get it wrong. The hostages, your daughter or son, are full of love. They were happy. So please. But I thought, oh no, well, Jim was my friend. And he wouldn't mind me, even if, because I was saying, look, trust me, Jim was full of love. I thought, well, I felt maybe this young female hostage wasn't. And so I said, look, I just want to share with the mother, who I didn't know, and I didn't know Kayla. Well, the mother of Kayla, Marsha Muller, it was the strangest thing. I would love one day to be able to share these letters. Emailed me saying, in tears, saying, it was like Kayla was talking to me when I read your letter to Diane. Wow. And then she let me read the letter, which was Kayla's last letter, because some Yazidi prisoner girls took her letter and got it out. And the letter is, Mother, I am the light in this darkness. I'm overwhelmed by the light and love for my family, my friends. So I am so full of love. This is an amazing moment. Please don't suffer. And it was the same words I'd used practically. And I said that I'd written to my mum when I thought I was going to be killed. Well, turns out all the hostages those who could had written letters. Well, the same letters I'd written, I never had to give to my mum, but the same letter James wrote, that Kayla Moolah wrote, that when you know life's going to die and you're going to die, you're overwhelmed by this appreciation of life. And to me, it was so deeply, that's a universal human thing. And that is the fact that our letters were almost verbatim, you know, similar, talking about childhood memories. I mean, there's beautiful light in the world, and that stayed with me. Now, that light, if it can survive in the darkness of a cell when you're being tortured and raped, cannot be extinguished. And it's the light in all of us. So it was a wonderful, overwhelming thing. So whenever I look around at the world and the hatred, we go back to some of those stories I was talking earlier about the culture wars, or when I was looking at these young feminists arguing with the trans, all I saw was the light of these lovely young women who are in the West, educated, arguing their case. So, yeah, that candle never goes out.
That's amazing.